We sort of try to notice in Lawrence Weston if anything's changing. It's not always changing, you know.
I think it's because in the past we were, using your terminology, we were for the forgotten area.
Yeah.
Now, with the group sitting around here and the forums we got, we're beginning to push, fight and ask questions, and slowly but surely we are achieving things and we are getting there. I'd like to say it twice as fast.
Little things that have changed that probably the average person out in the road wouldn't even think, oh man, that's changed. You know, but we know here that we've changed it.
That people are beginning to stand up or sit up and take notice of the place they live in.
Through the Big Local programme, we've got a high focus on fuel poverty for our residents. So we're trying to explore ways on how to address fuel poverty and obviously cleaner energy. So we formed an energy group.
We invested in a young chap to do some energy programme for us, some energy work. We only invested £2,000 in him, I think that's 2 years ago.
The Big Local was invested in me and spending time on the project, and I've been able to draw in other funds to support my role.
We are employing people to go out and get ideas, get money.
We're now at the site of Lawrence Weston Solar Farm. This is a community-owned solar farm owned by Bristol Energy Cooperative. We partnered with Bristol Energy Cooperative to realise the solar farm with support through the planning process.
Avonmouth being so close, it's been pollution that the community's experienced but not had a community benefit. So what we were able to do in negotiating with the council was actually take on a site that the council owned. We were able to demonstrate to the council would get far better value for the site as a community project than it would be as a commercial development.
Money is what counts, and therefore we have to influence the local authority.
As a result of that, Ambition Lawrence Weston now benefits from a community fund, from energy and monies generated from the solar farm itself.
And at the time now, when you look at it, that is bringing in £25,000 a year into Lawrence Weston. So a good investment, you know, and we still employ the chap.
We've been very fortunate as a group because the way we work, they can talk together. We've not wasted a penny. In fact, we once got told off by the lottery for not spending too much.
We've got a wind turbine being built. We've got our own solar fields down the bottom of the lane. We've got our cheese programme.
It's a cheese project, and it's basically Cold Home's energy efficiency survey experts. And what it is Fleur have brought out a camera that goes on the back of the iPhone, and we're actually firmly imaging the streets of Lawrence Weston, and we've got our own app. It's a thermal imaging device, but the real benefit really comes when you actually do an internal survey. And for the surveys, it was a pilot, so we only did a small number of surveys, but in each case we found that householders took up measures to make their homes more energy efficient. So we're going to be training more people this year to become cheese surveyors. We had a huge level of support, so we're over 20 people who have suggested they want to volunteer for the project. So we'll be drawing on that support later this year as we develop the cheese project further and also develop new projects like the wind project we're currently working on. We looked at how we might be able to use some interns that were paid a living wage to be involved in those projects, help deliver those projects, getting the experience of those projects.
I found out about the internship from Lawrence Weston Community Farm. It seemed like a good opportunity to learn some new things and to be involved with another community organisation. I quite like to work in that sector.
They've already developed skills that they're using skills that they wouldn't have been using in their previous employment. So one chap who's a Lawrence Weston resident, he's actually developed a website, he's developing a website for us at the moment.
I created this cover photo,
James has developed a Facebook group for us and also designed a logo.
I always been good at like computers, but I never really put in practice, designing logos and process and stuff. So
And all these things he's never been able to express before in his employment because it's not what his employment's been about.
Like legislation around getting things done and how you, like how an organisation like this is structured and how you get to move projects forward.
Well, due to recent changes from government planning policy and a written statement by the Minister of Energy, it's becoming increasingly difficult to allow onshore wind turbines to receive planning permission.
Recent surveys have shown that over 60% are interested in attending a meeting to discuss it.
The only way it can now be achieved is either through the core strategy of the local authority or through a neighbourhood development plan. Now, Lawrence Weston, through some funding from Big Local and through the support of Ambition Lawrence Weston, have embarked on delivering their own neighbourhood development plan, which has just come back from the examiner now. Unfortunately, those changes were made after we had formed the plan, basically. So unfortunately, we missed the opportunity to allow wind turbines on that site.
We're also exploring new legal routes to potentially develop a applications. It might be that we develop an NDO, a neighbourhood development order to do that, and that would mean that both the neighbourhood plan and the neighbourhood development order would go to referendum.
We're always looking for ways to generate economic sustainability, so that's one of the main reasons why we're exploring renewable energies and whether or not it can provide sustainable income for Ambition Lawrence Weston and carry on the good work that Big Local have started.
I would like to sort of think that by 2020 we've got at least one turbine. That's my ambition.
I think the most difficult thing is to encourage more residents on the estate to come forward and say their piece.
Sometimes it's awkward for people because they're working and we meet on a dinner hour. Then we get the reason that people can't come on evening because they got kids and this sort of thing. So it's quite difficult.
I'd like to see a lot more people come here and explore it. We've got the wetlands down the other side there. We've got the community farm down there. We've got Kings Weston House. Well, I went to school at Kings Weston House in 48 and the woods behind us.
Within the Big Local plan, there's a big aspiration coming from the residents to have a shop front on the main rank of shops, which we are now in Ridingleys, again to promote that engagement with the local residents and just to be more accessible.
It's a community shop we wanted when we started.
The idea for the shop came from another project that was funded by the Big Local fund, and that was an arts project.
We never had the capacity to run it. There wasn't enough of us.
So Oasis Hub stepped forward and said that they would support that group of residents and others, and they would manage the shop. And there's about 8 volunteers in total, and they all obviously take it in turns to man the shop and create the arts and crafts.
When it opened, people in Lawrence Weston wouldn't go in it. They thought it was too posh. They stood outside. Yeah. Can we come in?
They weren't used to it.
I think there's 3 similar shops in Bristol. We're in talks now with them to try and join forces. Residents from Lawrence Weston produce their arts and crafts materials for sale in this shop, but they also share them with the other shops dotted around Bristol.
Hopefully and eventually we're going to have people from Blaze Walk, which is, as we say, the independent living centre there, coming down teaching people to knit and do crochet.
We're also in talks with Bristol Museum, and they're keen to accept some of the stock that gets produced by our local residents and sold through their outlets across the city region as well.
2 old women come in. They don't want to do any sewing, they don't want to do any knitting, they don't even want a cup of tea. They just want to sit in company, not even talking. Now to me, that is worth a smile.
This used to be the church, and now we are converting it into a community cafe. We thought for a long time that although the hall gets used a lot, food bank, other organisations, the sanctuary doesn't get used at all apart from a couple of hours on Sunday. So about 4 years ago we thought perhaps we should have a community cafe. 4 years in the making. Many people gave us donations, schools, other churches. The Big Local gave us a contribution. local council did from their neighbourhood fund, and we got together about £10,000, which we've used to put the kitchen in, to completely revamp the way you come in and the vestibule, and what used to be one of the nastiest toilets in Bristol is now a toilet we're quite proud of. We've designed it essentially as a community cafe space, and our intention and plan is that organisations won't just use it to come and have a cup of coffee, but they'll actually come and use the space for their own social events. If it wasn't for the significant donation we got from Big Local, then probably we would still be waiting to try and raise the money to get it built, and so we're very grateful for that.
I would like to think that it develops as a garden community. Here we have this marvellous advantage of greenery, and the great problem is, or the great danger is, once greenery goes, it never comes back.
What I'd like to see, and I mean we started it last year, it wasn't that successful, is some sort of Christmas event for the youngsters of Lawrence Weston.
I always like to think we've left a legacy here in Lawrence Weston for those children to enjoy, or help. We didn't leave it, but help to leave it and make the place better for them.